Ma'am, you are live now.
Hello everyone, how are you? And I'm Ayushi Goel this side, and today we are going to learn some important questions for your board examination. I hope you guys are well prepared and you might be on the revision phase. If you have any doubt, any query, you can ask me. Let me share my screen with you. I hope the screen is visible to everyone. Good. If the screen is not visible, let me know about this the same. Good. Now, see, in the CBSE now we have a very fixed syllabus and a very fixed pattern. In the last webinar, we had learned about the tips and tricks that how I can score more with the limited results or with the limited, we can say preparation, or with the limited, we can say about it. It's the how I'm presenting my answer. That is the basic thing. Like I am not very fond of using a different pens or different color things in my paper, or my handwriting is very bad, or if I don't know the answer for a question, how should I able to score, or how should I write an answer? Like I know everything but I'm not scoring full marks. Why? So in that case we had learned about these simple processes and these simple things. So in this case we are going to do with the same one here. So what is the same process we are going to do here? In this, we are going to learn about the few questions or few topics, I can say, which are always there in your paper. So I'll try to start with the topics of your. Okay, good evening, Ali. So Ali, you are asking within the question of the micelle formation. Okay, we can go with the micelle formation question first. There's no issue, and is one of the most important topic which we can have in the carbon chapter. And in the carbon chapter there are other topics also which are very important, such as your homologous series, and you will be having the soap reactions are there. So these are also very important. Okay, so the first question which I got was the micelle formation. So let's start with the micelle formation itself. Now tell me, if you have seen a soap, what they write about a soap. Soap is a salt of carboxylic acid having a very long chain of a carbon. So we have the first statement. Salt of carboxylic acid with very long chain of carbon. Now I'm keeping, today I'll try to use only one single pen so you can understand that within a single pen, you can also represent your answer properly. So I hope this is clearly understandable to everyone. Now in the soap, what is happening, how the missile formation is occurring. So in the soap, we have two different things. So this is my hydrophilic head, and this is my tail, hydrophobic tail. Is it clear? Good. So in this case, what happens? The missile formation is that you will be having a circular structure. In between, the oil or the dirt gets trapped in the water. So how it is happening? And when we normally draw the missile formation, we actually draw it like this. With a polar head, this is your head and remaining is your tail. So if I'll consider this as my water, so let's just use a different pen. So in this case, what will happen? The hydrophobic tail moves inside and the head remains outside. And in the center, you will be having the anything you can write, oil or dirt. So what will happen in this formation? And this is a micelle formation which is occurring, and this is the cleansing action of a soap also. I hope, Ali, is this clear? Okay. Now let's go with the next. Same thing what they can ask you about in the formation is what is soap and detergent. So how will you determine what is a soap or what is a detergent? That they can ask you this as a 1 mark question, or they can ask you this as a 2 mark question, depending upon if they are asking you a micelle formation, it will become a 2 mark. And if they are asking you only soap and detergent, it will be a 1 mark question. So soap we have already done. It is basically a salt of carboxylic acid with a long carbon chain. Now, what is your detergent? Detergent is basically the sodium salt of sulfonic acid or ammonium salt of or chlorides or bromide salt you can take in the case when you're having a long carbon chain. So that is the difference between detergent and a soap. So what is the detergent? So I can write detergent is they are the salt of sulfonic acid. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. So it was a spelling error. So I can write it like this: cut, one word, and then we can go with next one. Sulfonic acid. And we can write an example. So I can write it like this, a long chain, and I can write with SO3 minus, and I can take anything. You can take sodium, potassium, whatever you want. Is this part clear? Okay. So, if you have seen in the model test paper or the mock test paper which has been given to you guys, you have seen that there are few typical type of a question if you observe very clearly. So, in every section, whether you go with the chemistry, whether you go with bio, whether you go with physics, in every section, there are always repeated questions from a given topic. Means they're always asked in one or other format. Either they will ask you as a 1 mark question, either they will ask you as a 2 mark, 3 mark. You will find one or the other question from there. So first I'm going to write all those topics, and then we are going to discuss one by one questions from the each topic. So what are the topics which we are having here? It's basically for the chemistry we have. First, types of reaction. In a types of reaction, they can ask you any question. They can ask you a 1 mark MCQ question. They can ask you a 3 mark question, and they can ask you write the. They can give you few chemical reactions and tell you which kind of reactions they are showing. So let's just quickly revise this portion. So in this case, what they can ask you, the first thing is if I have any combination reaction. So in a combination reaction, what do we have is in the combination reaction, we have that the two things are combined together to give you one thing. So best example, that is an activity also in our book, that is magnesium solid is reacting with O2 gas to give you MgO solid. See, always if you remember their states, do write their states. It is very important, and it's give you a very good impression on the teacher also that the child is writing an equation and he knows everything. Now in this case, I can write it. Point. First, this is a magnesium strip which you are taking, so you should rub with a sandpaper. Run, rub magnesium strip with sandpaper. Now question is why? It is because the magnesium sometimes create a protective layering of a magnesium oxide on it. And that is your actually a question of metals and non-metals, but it can be asked here as well. So what is happening here? Magnesium oxide protective layer is there. So with sandpaper, now you rub that layer and you get the pure magnesium, and which you can react with oxygen to get magnesium oxide. Got it? Good. Second type of a reaction we have is decomposition. First, we can go with decomposition. Now, in the decomposition reaction, if you see many of the students got this question that they were asking, ma'am, in our paper, now they have given direct 3-mark question from the decomposition reaction. Direct 3-mark question. So what they can ask you, what is decomposition reaction? Types of decomposition. So we have 3 types of decomposition. So we are going to understand all 3 types. So decomposition means that you break down something. So first, you can break down something by thermal decomposition. Thermal means by heating. So if I have a thermal decomposition, like I'll take CaCO3, this is solid, I'll heat it, so I'll get CaO plus CO2 gas, thermal decomposition. Second, I can have photolytic. So in the photolytic decomposition, the best example, and which is our activity also, that we have AgCl, solid, and you have a sunlight here, and it will break down to give you if I write now half Cl2 gas, now this reaction becomes unstable. So I have to balance this equation. So what my correct should be? That it should be 1 here, 2 here, and 2 here. Whenever you are writing any chemical equation, do stabilize it or do balance it or think of any other reaction. And C we have is electrolysis. One of the favorite question. Electrolysis, where we pass the electricity. So here I can take the water, go with electrolysis. I'll get hydrogen gas plus oxygen gas. So balance it, I'll write 2 and 2 here. Clear? Good. Second question, which has been asked in the alternative years. Sometimes they ask continuously 2 years and then leave it. So last year they has asked this question that was about the corrosion and rancidity. This year they may or may not ask, but we should be prepared for it. So what is the corrosion and rancidity? See, I'm making the same mistakes which the students used to make in their paper. If you write some spelling wrong, cut with a single line. It looks presentable. I'm not going to delete anything today. I'm going to leave those mistakes so you can understand that how I need to present my answer and how should I write it. And you can see that I'm using a single color pen also. Here, second, let me just as you can see, single color pen. Okay, there are 2-3 words I've used with a different color to show, but you need to understand that with a single color also now my everything is different. Why? Because I'm leaving a line again, heading differently, leaving a line, then give you a point, then give you another point, give you another point. And if you can see, I'm using a different bullets also here, like an arrow, dot, cross, double arrows, or A, B, C, D, whatever I can use. So it looks different. It gives you a different portion there. And when I change the topic, I'm leaving 2-3 lines gap. These are the basic things which you need to keep in your mind while you are doing your paper. And this is very important portion which you need to be understand while you are doing your paper in any of the cases, whenever you are doing the paper or when you are seeing your paper. The most important thing is that how you are presenting your answer. I'm not writing section here, so I'll also write section. So this is my section here, chemistry section. Yeah, good. Now let's see what is the difference between corrosion and rancidity. Yes, anybody wants to give me the answer in the chat? What is the difference between corrosion and rancidity? No? Okay. So corrosion and rancidity both are undesirable products for us, which is created by the atmosphere. In corrosion, when the metal reacts. In rancidity, when your food or organic products react. So what happens in the point number one? When metal react with atmospheric gases and produce. It is not a protective layer which is formed. Protective layer is formed only on magnesium and aluminium. You have magnesium, aluminium, and you have zinc. These are the three metals which will form a protective layer. After that, they will not react. But let's say if I talk about iron, if you're talking about copper, in that case, they are getting properly corroded. So atmospheric gas and produces undesirable product, means we do not want them. Undesirable product. So that is basically a corrosion. In rancidity, when food, or we can write any organic product, react with same atmospheric gases and produces undesirable product. So in this case, what happens? We can write it. Yes. So in that case, what we can write with an example here. So example, I can take it like rust. And here I can write rotting of food. Now there's two things. If you see now what I'm writing, my point is ended here. So I left this line. So you have to keep this that they should be parallel with each other. This is also one most important thing when you are writing a difference between the two. Even if they ask you this question in 1 mark about corrosion or acidity, so you have to write this basic ones. Now, in this case, how I can just understand with an example. So what will happen when you are rusting? So here, metal lose their property. And here what we can write? Food is spoiled. We can also write it has, how do I know food is spoiled? First, bad smell. Not able to eat it. Like this, we can write it. Then we can have next point number 4, how we can prevent corrosion. You have written so many points. There are galvanization, oiling, greasing, painting on it, and you are creating or electroplating. And in rancidity, you can use the prevention methods like you are having. If you add the Yes. If you add the salt in it, if you cool it and store it in a proper refrigerations, or you are using an inert atmospheres like a packaging materials are used, or you are adding any preservatives in them, like that. Is it clear? Good. After this, we can have the next types of reaction that will be your displacement. In displacement, now we have two: single displacement, double displacement. Single displacement means that only one species is replacing the other one. Like you can have, and that will come in the metal reactivity series, most important. So you have a copper sulfate, aqueous solution, and you are adding zinc because zinc is more reactive than copper, so it can displace it. So it will give you ZnSO4 aqueous here plus Cu solid. If you want, you can write color change also. It is blue color, it is white, and it is slightly, we can write bronze color like this. This is single displacement. If we have double displacement means both of them are replacing each other. So we can have the example of BaCl2 is reacting with Na2SO4, both in aqueous state, giving you BaSO4. BaSO4 precipitate out plus NaCl twice aqueous solution. Clear? So this is your double displacement reaction. Then you can have oxidation, reduction reaction, and redox reaction. So if I talk about oxidation reaction, see, I am writing in a little hurry and in a bad handwriting. My handwriting is actually good, but okay. So here I'm writing in a bad one. So you can understand that handwriting doesn't matter most of the times. What matters that if your words are clearly readable to everyone. And I'm telling this again, if your handwriting is bad or if you are not able to say or you write, represent your answer, keep the gap between the words like I am keeping. You don't have to save these sheets there. Use as many as you want and write it in a proper way. You can see that I am leaving a space again and again. I'm telling you this point. It is very, very important. Thermal displacement reaction. Yes, I can again explain. Is thermal displacement. This thermal displacement. So when you are heating, you are displacing something. But thermal displacement reaction is not there. We have thermal decomposition reaction. Do you want that to be explained? Okay, so let's go with the thermal decomposition reaction. See, thermal means heating, means endothermic type of reactions. From outside, I'll provide them a heat and then reaction will occur. Best example, take any carbonate. Calcium carbonate, heat it. You are getting CaO solid plus CO2 gas. No, ma'am. So what you are actually asking? Let's see. Meanwhile, he's typing. So he or she, not sure. So in that case, we can move on. So we were talking about oxidation. Oxidation means addition of oxygen. Simple. So magnesium reaction, best reaction. Magnesium solid react with oxygen gas to give you MgO. Or you can take any other reaction also like zinc, O2, give you Zn. You have to, you were asking me thermal displacement reaction, right? See, displacement reaction is basically that when you are displacing something from one radical is displacing the other one. That is a thermal displacement reaction. So it is a single displacement. It can be a double displacement. It entirely depends upon that which is more reactive and which is less reactive. So that is a reactivity series here. So if I talk about the reactivity series, like I have displaced copper with zinc, I can take like AgNO3, silver nitrate. Silver nitrate in aqueous medium and I am adding copper solid. Now see, Copper is more reactive than silver in a reactivity series, so it will displace it. Hello, Dhruval, how are you? So you'll get Ag solid here, and copper's nitrate will move out, giving you an aqueous solution here. Yes, Dhruv, I remember you. I hope you are doing well. So this is your displacement reaction. Single displacement, double displacement. Okay, that's really nice. Now let's go with the next portion. So oxidation, we have already seen that the oxidation reaction is occurring. So in the next case, what we can have is, in the next we have a reduction reaction. So reduction basically means that when you are reducing the reaction, or when you are adding hydrogen or remove oxygen. These are the two ways that I can define a reduction reaction. So removing of oxygen is basically like this. Take SO3 gas, slightly heat it, it will produce SO2 gas plus O2 gas move out, balance it 2 and 2 here. This is a reduction reaction. Oxygen is moved out. Not able to understand chemistry? Come back to me, I'll teach you again. There's no issue. Chemistry is the most easiest topic. If you able to score chemistry is like, if you are learning ninth and 10th grade properly, now means you have done most of the 11th grade portion here only. And be focused on your 10th grade. People says that marks don't matter. Yes, they do matter. You have to score well. And redox reaction, when the oxidation and reduction both occurs together, that is redox. So in a redox reaction, I have to choose any example where oxygen is added and in some other case it is removed. I can have n numerous number of examples of the redox reaction. So I can first start with copper oxide, adding with hydrogen gas, heat it. Now see, in this reaction, what is happening? From copper, oxygen is removed, so it is reduction. And here oxygen is added, so it is oxidation. Is it clear? Yes. If you have my number, you can contact me. Let's talk that how you can score well. The next thing, what do we have after this type of reactions are done and all the things are done? I hope this portion is clear to you guys. Good. So after this, the next portion we have is from the acid, bases, and salt. So in the case of when we talk about the acids, bases, and salt here, acid, bases, salt, their reaction, acid, base react together to give you a salt. And in the acid, bases, and salt chapter, now the most important thing is the name. So they will ask you one mark question out of this. What is the one mark question out of this is? Bleaching powder. Can anybody tell me what is the formula of bleaching powder? Come on, guys, give me in the chat box. What is the formula of bleaching powder? What is the formula of baking soda? Baking washing soda. Then we have having plaster of Paris, gypsum. Come on. Very good for us. That is correct answer. For baking powder, we have CaOCl2. Good. Bhavya, correct answer. I'm not sure whether your name is Youngman XD, but we'll call you XD. XD, correct answer. Zuan, correct answer. What about the second one, baking soda? XD correct answer for the baking soda also. Most typically asked questions. Everywhere you will find that they were asking you this formula. Either bleaching powder, 1 mark question, or they are giving you that what is the bleaching powder, define it, what is the baking soda, what are their uses and all that. Zoyan, Bhavya, correct answer. Go with the next one. What is washing soda? Oh, Zaid has given me all the answers. Zaid, this is what we are looking for. When you are there asking you washing soda, now washing soda is not just Na2CO3. Washing soda is Na2CO3 dot 10H2. 10 crystallization water is present. This is very important. Okay, Pratham. There's no issue. XD is a very good name, short form. So if you write Na2CO3, you will lose marks. Similarly, next, plaster of Paris. Bhavya, correct answer. Zoyan, correct answer. Come on, guys, give me the next answer. Good. Bhavya, correct answer for the plaster of Paris also. CaSO4 dot half H2O. See, they do not have any other courses or any syllabus. They have a very defined course. So how you can change this option? This is also a correct way to write plaster of Paris. That you have 2 calcium sulfate for 1 water molecule. This is also a correct representation. If they directly ask you what is plaster of Paris, this is a way. But if it is a multiple choice question MCQ and they are giving you 2 options, you have to mark both of them are correct. And for the gypsum, so we'll be having calcium sulfate dot 2H2. Correct answer by Bhavya. Pratham, again, 2H2 is missing. See, child, they have given you this name now, they have specific meaning. I'm not writing anhydrous word here. So you have to write that they have H2 and present in them. Is this clear? Good. The second most important thing which they will ask you in this case is your chloroalkali process. Because in the chloroalkali process, you have electrolysis. They have specifically explained what is the reaction on anode and what is the reaction on cathode. So can you tell me what is a chloroalkali process? Yes, guys? Don't remember or typing? Okay, so chloroalky process is basically when you are taking a brine solution and passing through the electrolysis. So in the anode and cathode, you are getting a different reaction here. So what is happening? That you have a brine solution. Brine solution means take a salt water, NaCl aqueous solution, which is called as brine solution. Absolutely correct, Zed. Reacted in the presence of water, it is electrolysis here. You forgot to write, Bhavya, hydrogen gas is also produced in the process. And for you, Zuyan, you forgot to write that NaOH is produced in the process. See, if you're using the words now, so write it in a proper things or write a reaction. So in this case, what I'll get chlorine gas plus hydrogen gas plus NaOH aqueous solution. Balance the equation, I'll get 2 here, 2 here and 2 here. I hope you have understand why you are missing half of marks in your papers. As you can see that Bhavya has written that form chlorine gas and sodium hydroxide. Hydrogen is missing, half mark cut. Same for Zoyan. Produces alkali and the chlorine gas. Alkali, you have to write NaOH if you're using the alkali word. Alkali can be anything. Cut half mark. And they do cut, like teachers love to cut their marks, especially for the students who are scoring very well or who are writing everything very well. Is this part clear to everyone? Okay, we have a limited time, so I have to give you biology and the physics main important points also. So I'm just giving you first point and then we'll come back to the questions. So here next we have is refining of metals and the thermite reaction. These are a last minute preparation when the students, like you are going for a revision. When I, what should I revise at the last minute? Because my exam is like in after 2 weeks, I have to give my exam. These are the last minute preparations. So homogeneous properties we have already learned myself. Second we have is homologous series. Typical questions. Always ask what is homologous series, what is the refining of a metal, or you are refining with the zinc, or if you are taking electrolysis, for which kind of metal they are used, or if you are using calcination or roasting, for which type of metals they are used. Diagram question in the chemistry. You will be getting one diagram. Either you will be getting a diagram of a carbon compound that you have to draw a dot structure of a carbon compound, or you have to show an electron dot structure of the NaCl or MgCl2. Will always be there. One question will be there. Either for NaCl or for your organic compound. This is going to be there in your paper. So this is the terms for the chemistry. These are the basic things which they can ask you till now. Now let's go with the next portion. So next portion we have is your biology. See, I'm not very good in biology, but I have scored full in biology. Why? Because I know that what the things I need to learn in biology. I learn only those things, I scored well. So by just seeing the paper from the past 5 years, what I have seen in the biology, what they're always asked was these topics. So first was from the monohybrid and dihybrid. Cross multiplication questions about them, that what is a monohybrid, dihybrid, how do you cross them, and all the questions about them. Then you will be having a plant hormones. And then it was a double circulation. Every year from these four topics, I have seen one or the other question. Either it is a 1 mark or a 2 mark. So definitely this year you will be getting these four questions. Now in the physics. See, in the physics now you will be getting one numerical. My best thing is, if you don't able to solve the question, do write the formula and then put it in the square or in the circle, whatever you want to put. The first thing they were going to ask you about the concave and convex mirror. Concave and convex mirror, about the focal length, about the magnitude power, I guess that is what is called at, and the question about the 1 by f is equals to 1 by u plus 1 by v. That formula I know. Where v is your the distance of the mirror and u is the distance of the object, and distance of the object is always negative. Right? Am I saying correctly? And put that in the box. Do solve this question. Second, human eye. They always ask about the human eye. Either they can directly ask you about the human eye, or they can ask you about the defects in human eye. Defects with correction. Then you will be having the next most important topic is dispersion through prism. These are the topics which I'm giving you that from the past 5 years, always there is a question from this topic. Then you have a fourth topic in the physics as Ohm's law. See, in the Ohm's law, na, I have seen the questions that they have given you a circuit and they were asking you to calculate the either they were giving you a parallel or the series resistance and asking you the total resistance or the voltage or the current of a question. So there will always be a law numerical here. In a very rare, I have seen a 1 mark question that they were asking you to write the Ohm's law. But it can be asked because in the question, if they're asking you a numerical, so you have to write according to a Ohm's law and you have to put it in the bracket and you have to use the formula. Then the fifth question was the solenoids. Very, very important. Every year there's a 2 mark question on the solenoids. So these are the basic topics which I have told you, and you will be finding the questions from here. Uh, in this the convex and the concave length, they were asking you a question about the focal length, whether it is a positive or negative. It's a 1 mark question. There was a positive, it is always there for the convex, and if it is a negative, it will always there for your concave mirrors or concave lenses like that. So they can ask you a few questions here, a few portions here. Just understand these things. If you have any doubt, any query, please do consult with your respective teachers. I'm telling you again and again. Don't get confused in the paper, and if you don't know anything, draw the diagram, write the formula, don't leave it blank. Do something in the question. Don't leave it blank. Now, as CBSE is trying to be more productive and they were going to ask you more questions about that, we are checking the practical knowledge of a student. So they will ask you questions about the activities. Okay. Now, the best ever question related with the practicals. First question. What is the first question? Which is a better way that I should add in a beaker? I'm having acid and I'm adding water, or a second way that I am having water here and I'm adding acid. Yes. Now do tell me, which is a better way? A is or B? Come on, guys, give me the answer. Why? Why B? Or why A? Okay, I'm getting the answer correctly. B is the correct answer. Now the question is why? Why it is a better option to add acid in water? Come on, guys, give the answer. I want a proper thing. Okay, Swayam or Shailesh, if you add water in acid, it is highly exothermic. It is exothermic in the other reaction also. If you add water, acid in water, it is still exothermic. Then why we are adding it? This is what I'm saying. See, it is the exothermic reaction. If you take acid in a water or water in an acid, it will produce heat because it is an exothermic reaction. That is true. It is true for A also and it is true for B also. Then why we are choosing B? That is the question. Again, I'm getting the same answer. It will be highly exothermic because it splashes out. I'm asking you why B. You are giving me answer why not A. Listen to the question very carefully. Question is why B. Question is not why not A. It is absolutely correct here. It is an exothermic reaction. So in this case, what will happen when we add water? It is very vigorous and water plus acid can splash out, causing harm. That is correct. My question is why B? In B, acid will get more diluted. Element 2. So I'll call you helium. No, no. The major answer is what is happening here. When you are adding acid in a water, exothermic reaction is done, heat is produced, but that heat is absorbed by water. Heat produced on dissolving acid in water is absorbed by the water. That is the major reason. They are producing the heat, but the maximum amount of water is present and it absorbs all the heat. So when slowly you are adding the acid in that case, it is absorbing all the heat and making it is a less vigorous and doesn't splash out and causing the harms. Is this part clear? Now this is a practical question. Yes, no. Now the next type of a question which they can ask you from this organic, oh sorry, in the case of your chemistry, so we can have the questions like, then why can't the acid absorb the heat? Acid doesn't absorb heat. Acid is releasing heat when it is mixing with the water. Water is the one which has a lower temperature and it will absorb the heat. Is that clear? Acid will try to dissolve in water. So what is happening for a very huge amount of acid, you have a very small amount of water to dissolve. What you are doing when you are adding a water, you are going with a dilution. So in the case of dilution, what is happening that there are in this case now there are two different things. What is happening? In the first case, you are having a very high amount of an acid and you are adding a dropwise water here. So what is happening for a very small amount of water, there's a very huge amount of acid. So heat released is very high, which is not absorbed by the complete water. So remaining heat has to move out. It either move out in the form of a splash or either move out in the form of a blast or explosion. And the second case, what you are having a high amount of a water and acid is low. So when acid is added, whatever heat it is releasing, water is there to grab it. Clear? Good to go. Second practical question. Acid, bases, and salt only. So give me this answer. What one should do when acid by default splashes on the body? Yeah. What should one do? Let's say by default, I'm doing some certain experiment. I'm not taking precautions, and let's say a few drop of acid falls on my body. What should I do? What should be the first step that I should take when acid falls on your body or base falls on your body? First step. Yes, I'm waiting for the answer. You have done the practicals in the lab, and I'm sure that there might be one or the two student in your class which has done this. Mild base, like baking soda, should be applied on the area. The first answer is correct that you should wash with the water. If you find cold running water, that would be the best answer. Wash with cold running water. First and the foremost. Cold, so whatever the heat released by the acid on your body will be neutralized. Running water, so when you are adding the water, it will wash away the acid content which is present on your body or whatever the reaction happened on your body. Second thing, yes, you can apply a very mild baking soda or washing soda, or if you don't have it, wash it with a soap. Soap are basic in nature. Or you can have is calamine lotion. Or the fourth point, rub your hand from any old metal key. Now, why metal? Metal oxides are formed because of the rusting, and metal oxides are basic in nature. Now, the same question comes, same question I can go with the same, you have the answer. If honeybee bite, or if you have ant bite, because what they are doing when the honeybee or ant is biting you, they are releasing a formic acid on your body. Okay, what is an IUPAC name of a formic acid? Anyone? Okay, nobody knows. So it is methanoic acid. I got the answer. Good Sven. The formula is HC double bond OH here. Learn this formula. This is in the carbon chapter. They can ask you this formula. It is present in the acid, bases, and salt. They can ask you there also. And it was seventh grade question was there. They can ask you that as well. Then you can have the indicators. Most of the question, like case study question, the most of the chances is that it will come from the acid, bases, and salt, or it will come from your metals and non-metals. That is the best way that you can go with the questions because it's a live example questions. Or if they wanted to create any other type of a question from this one, so they will create those questions from your where I can have those questions. I can have those questions from from an experiment, activity type of a question, that directly I'm giving you an activity and there I'm asking you a question there. That we can do it. So activity, either I'm taking a magnesium ribbon and asking you a question, or either I'm taking your a question in which I'm going for the indicators type of a question. Or if I wanted to mix the two chapter questions, favorite one, two chapter question like this one, like how I can mix the carbon chapter with the first chapter. So let's see if I have ethane molecule, ethane, not formula, I'm not giving you formula, you can learn. Ethane shows combustion reaction produces X CO2 and Y H2O in a balanced chemical equation. What is X by Y is equals to. Now, in this question, by default, I have asked you the combustion reaction also from your carbon chapters, and I have asked you the balancing of the chemical reaction also, like that. And secondly, it is a mathematical question as well. So ethane formula is C2H6, reacts with O2. They have given you product, so you are getting CO2 plus H2O. So if I'll balance this, I'll get 2 here, 3 here. If I'll balance with the oxygen, it will be getting 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 by 2 here. Now balance it again. So it will become 2C2H6 plus 7O2 gives you 4CO2 plus 6H2. So ratio will be 4 by 6 or 2 by 3. Is it clear to everyone? Yes. So these are the various type of questions which they can ask you, and in the next webinar, I'll bring up the questions only itself, the questions which were always asked, like in the one or the other format. I'll not give you topics; I will give you directly questions. So be there in the next session, and I hope you have enjoyed this one, and this will help you a lot, especially with the topics. Do see the topics which are there for your biology, physics, or chemistry. These topics are always asked in the paper. Okay. Do you guys have any query, any doubt? You can ask now. Anything which you wanted to ask. For the next class, I'm giving you this one. The next webinar will be there. So when it is announced, you can bring all your doubts, all your questions. If you don't have any, then in that case, we'll practice the questions of your previous year, direct questions, which has been there from the last 5 years. Let's see, the 5 years papers I haven't seen, so I will see 10-year paper. Last 10-year questions which are repeatedly asked in the paper. Okay, so no query till now. Bye, good night. All the best for your exam. Study well, and I'll hope that you will come out with the flying colors, scoring 100 out of 100 in science, at least in chemistry. Bye. Okay, we get a question. How do we always get assertion question correct? Assertion means, right? Let's say that they are asking you acid plus water, or no, let's say acid plus base gives you salt plus water, because that should be the reason. That's how you should check the assertion and reasoning question. So if because given is correct, then in that case, it is a correct explanation. If because is not correct, because of this reason is not correct, so you have to check whether reason is a correct statement or not. Or in the next class, I'll bring the assertion reasoning question also. Is it clear, Swam? Okay.